Good afternoon. First of all, thank you guys for having me here. Very excited this weekend to come home to Williams-Brice, and obviously we have a big time, really good opponent here coming this weekend. I was starting my coaching career in the Southern Conference at Western Carolina, so they were definitely the top dog in the conference, them and App State at the time. So a lot of respect for the opponents coming in. Any questions?
Clayton, how much have you talked to Jalen Kilgore, if at all, about kind of how weird this situation is? Nick replaced RJ in the third step last year. Now Kilgore's kind of in there for Nick on the first play. And how do you think he played?
Well, it happened so fast. Obviously we didn't have enough time to get him. Obviously we prepared him for the moment. It happened obviously after the first play, very similar to what happened to Nick last year. And I thought Jalen did a great job. He came in and he was ready. True freshman, first game playing safety in that kind of environment, it's going to go a long way.
What were just kind of your general thoughts? Obviously, the result wasn't what you want, but what just kind of general thoughts on how your group played?
Well, definitely not the result. That's the main thing that we really care about at the end of the day. But we saw some good things. We saw some things to improve. I thought where we hurt us when the second one of those drives, we had a 12-play drive and a 13-play drive. We didn't give our offense a chance to get back in rhythm. We stayed on the field too long on defense, and I thought that hurt us. And then I think they scored a touchdown. They scored a field goal on one drive. Actually, one we got to stop, but I think we should have got off the field early to give our offense a better chance to get in rhythm. Just me personally, I saw some improvements and some things, but some things we got to clean up. Obviously, some guys were open, some guys were behind guys, a couple running lanes, and had a big QB scramble and one run to pop out. So we definitely got some room to improve.
Second half, you forced a couple turnovers, kind of turned things around a little bit. Was there anything you saw that second half that was different from the first half that you can take into Furman and beyond?
Just obviously the overall, just the finish of the game, the last 4 or 5 series, we didn't allow anything. They didn't get into the paint in the touchdown area. So that's if you can keep teams out the paint, you have a chance to win. So our goal is to we got to start games faster than we have in the past, and also I think if we'd have started faster, we'd have gave our offense a better chance to get in rhythm.
Clayton, I know during preseason camp you mentioned that looking back at the film last season, there were a lot of times during last season that you guys were in position to make tackles and you just missed some of them. Mm-hmm. Was that one of the issues you felt like the other night? And, I bring that up just because how quickly do you think you can correct some of those mistakes if it is just tackling issues?
I definitely feel like it was as far as a first game against that kind of opponent, I thought their skilled players were talented, and, tackling is always going to be a concern for every coach in America on game one. I would give it probably a C, a C, C plus type thing, based on some runs that did pop out that we kind of got them down. Those could have been 40 and 50-yard runs. Instead, they was 12. So, to me, if those runs get out, it's definitely a poor performance. But I thought our guys tackled okay. We can definitely improve, but it wasn't a lot of missed tackles out there.
With the news about Mo yesterday, just how impactful is it to lose a guy like that for a second year, and from Stone and Debo, for as much as they played, just kind of what did you see from them on Saturday?
First and foremost, with Mo, obviously heartbreaking. Couldn't believe it on the sideline, really, to be honest with you. So it was kind of took us all back for a minute, and so we had to regather ourselves as a group, as a unit, because we've been at this thing with Mo, obviously since January. We had visions of him going out to this game and performing. He had a role. He was going to play probably 30 snaps on defense to relieve Stone and Debo, because I knew that those guys, they've been in great shape to play the whole game. They didn't have an issue as far as conditioning. Just proud of how they played in regards of just flying around, making plays, some big hits, and some. Stone had a chance for a TFL. He kind of rolled off of it, but he stayed on his legs. He didn't get the missed tackle, but I thought those guys, for their first true time out there, it was Debo's second true time. Probably Missouri game last year, but. Just like how they play. The thing is, that's how they've been doing in practice. So no one in this building was surprised at the hit by Debo and the run through by Debo and Stone all over the field.
Clayton, your secondary now, with how banged up it's been, is getting pretty young. How concerned are you about communication on the back end, and then what are you guys doing to kind of get those young guys up to speed over the course of this week?
Yes, great question. We do feel like we got some young guys that has to play, and our guys do a great job of communicating in regards of just understanding each other, but it's different when you're on the field. So we're trying to replicate that much as possible at practices, coaches off the field, and a little chaotic, so the guys can kind of communicate through that environment. And just it's all about growth and development. And I think those guys can, with the judges and the Kilgores, all the young guys that's going to possibly play, even still DQ. He's only been here just a little over a year. So it's still growing and growth for him as well.
No sacks for you guys. I think 1 tackle for loss. What does that say to you as a coach? What have you said to those guys this week in terms of being able to create plays and be a little bit better?
Yes, we have to be better there. I mean, that, as Coach Beamer would say, that was the key difference in the game, and just momentum and just the feel of the game. I thought that was a major factor, X factor, that we didn't get that done. I know, like I said, we missed a couple in the backfield. I mean, normally you just call a regular game and you get 6 or 7 just naturally. So we have to do a great job of finishing plays. That was one of our things that we put down as a staff and as a team, that we didn't finish plays on defense. And I think there was a couple of times we had him back there and then he ran around and he got outside the pocket. Then we missed a tackle on a couple blitzes. But we got to finish plays. That's what it comes down to. I mean, naturally you should have 6 or 7 or 8. And then, if you get some things here, you can get up to double digits.
Obviously, when you're playing DB, the mistakes are going to get magnified. And, the 2 touchdowns. When Keenan was in coverage, what do you say to a guy like that when there are 2 big plays like that that were pretty big?
I mean, like I said, I've been this year 21, so this wasn't the first touchdown pass over a DB's head, so I kind of got a good feel for what to say. And you got to ask them questions of what technique did you use, how did you do it, why, and then they got to grow from it. That's at the end of the day. The play before that, they did something very similar. He used perfect technique, and then it was step for step. They didn't throw the ball, but then the next play he wanted to change up the technique, and then our mistakes on the back end show up on the scoreboard. It's not like the other positions, so we got to be the most disciplined group on the team, and Keenan's a disciplined guy, so he's going to be better at that. Yep, they ran an RPO slot fade, and he was step for step with the guy. They didn't throw it. The next play was the exact same play.
Clayton, with Mo out, you got Stone, Debo, Pup. Who else are you maybe looking at? Maybe moving another guy over to linebacker to maybe take that place that Mo would have had, or who are you kind of grouping to help with that depth?
Yes, Bam Scott will be back. He had a little. I think he did not dress that game against UNC. So right now we have those 4. Those are 4 guys we're working with. We have a couple guys that we're grooming. Ronnie Porter. We have Andrew Colacerdo, we call him Caesar, and then we have Colin Bryant, and we have Jaron Willis. So those guys are developmental dudes, but right now it'll be Ronnie Porter, Bam Scott will move back up, and then Andrew Colacerdo and Colin Bryant.
Kind of stick with that. I know you said they have the conditioner to do it, but Shane was in here yesterday saying that Stone and Debo playing that many snaps just isn't sustainable. What's your take on that, and how urgent is the situation to develop some of those guys at linebacker?
It's very urgent, and like I said, it's an everyday thing. Every night, every text message, every phone call, every FaceTime, every PDF you send them, it's very urgent. It's definitely high urgency, and we are, and definitely what Stone and Debo did the other night, that won't happen again the rest of the year. I'll make sure. But I knew going into game 1 only. Some guys, that's a big game, so I kind of protect some kids.
Clayton, a lot was made about kind of revamping the edge room a little bit, adding some pieces there. How do you feel like that edge group did over the course of the game, and what are realistic expectations for a guy like Drew Tuizama coming into his now 2nd game in South Carolina?
Obviously, the edge group, to me, the edge guys are where the TFLs can probably start at, as far as TFLs as the edge guys. And obviously, we don't have any moral victories on how we played. I know they want to improve, they want to be better. But I think this room we've kind of deepened the room up the past month or so with Drew coming and a couple guys coming off injury. We'll get JT back. So we feel really good about the depth in that room. It's going to be a by committee.
You got a couple of veterans at tackle in there with Tonka and Boogie. They didn't really seem to pop to me too much. What did you see out of their play? Did you expect a little bit more from those guys?
Yeah, we have high expectations, high standards here in this program for all of our guys. We do believe that, some guys, they also would tell you themselves that they didn't have a lot of production. I want to say it was a while before they made their first tackle. I think, and Coach Robinson was correct, it was more of a technical thing. I think you get into the game and you kind of fall back on some habits that you think are going to be right, and then instead of using the proper technique, because that position is probably the physically most hardest one to play. In regards of it's right now, you have 2 inches to make your decision and what technique you're going to use, and they got to fall back on their training. Thank you. Y'all have a great day. See you.